everyone, and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show, where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. We're going to be looking at a varietal that many people are not familiar with, and that is Torrontes. Now, Torrontes is not necessarily the varietal itself. It is called Torrontes, don't get me wrong, but there's actually several different types of Torrontes, and they're related but not necessarily the same. You have Torrontes San Juanino, you have Torrontes Riojana, and you have Torrontes Mendocino. Those are the three basic Torrontes of Argentina, where this is most famous for, Torrontes. Interesting about this grape, it's also used in Pisco. If you're familiar with Pisco in Chile, they also use what is related to Torrontes, and that is Muscat of Alexandria, or they say the Muscatel de Alejandra. That's also part of Pisco. So Torrontes is a very interesting grape. For instance, the three different styles. In fact, Spain has its own Torrontes, which they grow in Galicia. But the interesting thing about it is these three types of Torrontes are all very different. And I after doing some research on this grape, and very early in my career I tried Torrontes, and I had these Torrontes that were just really almost heavy. And I couldn't understand. Then you'd have a Torrontes that was fresh and clean, and you had a Torrontes that had good aromatics but was sometimes somewhat bitter. So I was like, why are they so different? And maybe that is why the consumer hasn't gravitated towards Torrontes as much as other whites like Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, Pinot Gris, even Vinho Verde, because they know what they're going to get. And I think consumers sometimes have a hard time when they're not sure what they're getting. We have a Torrontes here that is just basically doesn't tell you what it is. It could be Mendocino, it could be San Juanino, depending on the aromatic, because Mendocino is less aromatic. San Juanino is less focused, and then the really top dog of them all is a Riojano, which is the most expressive, and maybe the one that has that kind of almost viscosity to it at times. In fact, Torrontes reminds me sometimes of Viognier, and I know Viognier is becoming very popular at my store. So there you go, a little rundown on Torrontes. So let's get started. This is the Crios from Susana Balbo, a very famous producer in Argentina. And this is the Torrontes, and it just says Argentina, 2017. So it's a couple of years old, but be interesting to try it. It goes for $12. This isn't her top of the line Torrontes. This is her entry level Torrontes. I thought this was interesting when I was doing this. Now this is 13.5 alcohol. Torrontes can come in hot. I don't think 13.5 is terrible. I don't know about you. But yeah, let's give this a try. Susana Balbo. She does a lot of stuff. A lot of different, she does great Malbec. I'm not sure if she does a Sauv Blanc. She might do a Cab as well. Let's see what we get on the nose. Again, you get apricots, mango, just a touch of a little bit of sulfur coming through, which, you know, can be good or bad. These are both stealth enclosure or screw cap. So decent aromatics. I would say this could be Mendocino Torrontes. And so that is less aromatic. This also could be San Juanino. Either one. And she might even throw in some Riojana, you know, how do you know? So, yeah, a little mango, a little peach, a little apricot, I'm still getting that kind of sulfur thing coming through. A little bit of grassiness, too. Let's see what we get on the palate. This is the ones that remind me a lot of Viognier. It has this mango, papaya, a little bit of apricot coming through. Very fresh on the finish. So this is a beautiful little Torrontes. I thought this was cool on the label. It said food pairing smoked meats, medium cheeses, whatever, fish, crab, and sushi. Well, we're in the middle of summer. Fish and crab. Just caught a salmon a couple days ago. That was kind of exciting. Last week. Has a little bit of weight on the mid palate. I like the finish of apricot, mango, papaya going on there. And then I get really kind of fresh, and a little bit of that grassiness comes through right on the back end. Not heavy. It's not a grassy wine, but a little bit comes through. Good acidity on the finish, which I like. This could have Riojana, and it could be a combination of Riojano, Mendocino, San Juanino, Torrontes. But it's very good, very fresh, very clean. I'm going to go BB plus on this. I think a lot of you would like it. $12. This is a good example of a Torrontes that has a little bit of that Viognier-like thing to it, but very fresh and clean on the finish. I think this would be great with mussels. If you wanted to sprinkle a little bit on your clams, you know, saute your clams in it and then go from there, that'd be awesome. And then drink it, of course, with the clams and the mussels and the shrimp and this and that. Now we're moving on to, so this is BB plus, the Arena Torrontes 2019. So now this is 17, which is kind of curious, but I'm sure they might be on their 18 by now, but that's very good. 2019, they say that Torrontes is only good for 2 or 3 years. You know, it should be drunk fresh. This is from Cafachates in Salta, Argentina. Now this place, Cafachates, is known for growing Riojana. That's what they do there. That's their main grape, if not their only grape. Very, very high vineyards in Cafachata of Salta. Some of their vineyards are 10,000 elevation above sea level. 10,000 feet. Can you imagine that? That's crazy. Imagine harvesting those grapes. That's nuts. So this was listed as one of the top producers of Torrontes from Argentina. This rolls in at $16. So I'm very curious to try this one. Yeah, you think this is related to Muscat of Alexandria, which is famous for its kind of orange, kind of sweet wines. They do make dry wines out of them, but this, the nose on this is wild. It has a little bit of cedar, which I find interesting. Again, you get the mango, papaya. This has a more of a, like I said, that cedar tone comes. They don't use wood on Torrontes. That's not very common if they do it at all. It's usually stainless steel. Some might use concrete. There's a banana component coming through as well. Very interesting mango, papaya, banana thing going on. Let's see what we get on the palate. This is a much deeper style of Torrontes, which you would expect come from Cafachates in Salta. That's where they really are proud of their Torrontes there. I'm sure they're proud of it everywhere. There's a little bit of viscosity on the mid palate. It kind of stretches. You get that, but it's not super ripe, which I don't necessarily always like. And when I'm recommending a Torrontes, I always warn people not to do this. Then this finishes with a little bit of orange and lime citrus, which I think is really cool. So you get this kind of mango thing, papaya up into the mid palate, and then it finishes with this citrus, lime, and orange. Really cool Torrontes. I like this one a lot. I like both of them. This one has more depth, complexity to it. Good balance, good acidity on the finish with that citrus note. This would be a good whitefish, halibut, crab, that sort of thing. A goat cheese would be good. This would be good with like walnuts. Would also be very good with this. Really kind of get a hit of orange citrus on the mid palate. I like this one a lot. I'm going to go B plus A minus on this one. I like it just a little bit better than this one, but they're both very good. Good values from Argentina, which is where you will find most of your Torrontes. I have a question for you. How many of you have tried Torrontes? How many of you are curious about it and want to try it? I think it's very good to stretch out your palate horizons. Thanks for taking a little time out of your day. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I want to hit 500 by the end of the year. That's my goal. We'll see if we get there. I don't know. But I appreciate all of you that have joined in and watched these videos. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.